Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Today is our Pride Shabbat. Normally, this would be in concert with the St. Pete Pride, and the sanctuary would be filled. We'd see a little more color and joy and excitement from so many family and friends, community from our city and beyond. People looking to be a part of an affirming, a welcoming, a joyful community. So I hope that this evening you are with us, wherever your home is, and that you've created a sacred space to welcome in Shabbat. There was an email, and I shared on Facebook, our wonderful committee of Mary Weisberg and Elizabeth Unruh, our committee co-chairs for Pride Shabbat, found a few readings, I think mainly from the Shar Zahab community in San Francisco. And with their permission, we will have some beautiful readings to add to our service tonight and tomorrow. So on the very first page is a reading on holiness. And Kendra, I'll ask you to do it with me.
Okay.
So I'll read the print text, and you and all of you will read the italics. We are your gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender children.
You must not seek vengeance nor bear a grudge against the children of your people.
We are your bi, trans, lesbian, and gay parents.
Revere your mother and father, each one of you.
We are elderly lesbians, bisexuals, gay men, and transgender people.
You shall rise before the aged and show deference to the old.
We are the stranger.
You must not oppress the stranger. You shall love the stranger as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
We are lesbian, gay, bi, and transsexual Jews, transgender Jews.
You must not go about slandering your kin.
We are your trans, gay, bi, and lesbian siblings.
You shall not hate your brother or sister in your heart.
We are lesbian, gay, trans, and bi victims of gay bashing and murder.
You shall not stand idly when your neighbor's blood is being shed.
We are your bi, gay, trans, and lesbian neighbors.
You must not oppress your neighbor. You must judge your neighbor justly. You shall love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Now we'll turn to welcome the gift of Shabbat, to welcome the gift of each and every one of you, to welcome this sacred moment with Shalom Aleichem in our prayer book that's on page 13. mentioned Elizabeth and Ari. I also have to give thanks to Dean, and to Dorothy, and to Eve, and to so many others who made this happen. Because it wasn't a one-night, let's have Shabbat. Let's have Shabbat and call it Bright Shabbat. It took planning and work to say how important it was, to bring people together to get buy-in from the community and the board and all these different people and the broader community. That it went from being a small Shabbat of our community to, last year it was so beautiful with so many people here and special drinks and desserts and just so much fun. So I look forward, Bezrat Hashem, God willing, to next year when the seats will be filled again and we will celebrate in physical community. We'll turn to page 15, Lechu Neranena. Sing a new song to God, acclaim Adonai, all people on earth.
Sing to Adonai, proclaim each day God's awesome might. Announce to the world God's glory and wonders.
For Adonai is great, deserving of praise. Adonai alone is to be revered as God.
All the gods of the nations are nothingness, but Adonai created the heavens.
Majesty and might accompany God. Splendor and strength adorn God's sanctuary.
Acknowledge Adonai, all families of nations. Acclaim God's majestic power. Acknowledge God's glory and bring him tribute.
Worship Adonai in resplendent reverence. Let the earth tremble in God's presence.
Declare to the world, Adonai is sovereign. God has steadied the world which stands firm and judges all nations with fairness.
Let the heavens rejoice. Let the earth be glad. Let the sea and all it contains exult.
Let field and forest sing for joy. Adonai comes to rule the earth, to rule the world justly, the nations with faithfulness.
So in just a moment we'll sing those last few lines of Hebrew, but I want to comment on that last line. To rule the world justly, the nations with faithfulness. The emunato with truth. One of the challenges of the psalmist, whether we see that as David or our traditions, over and over and over in the Psalms we see this concern about earthly justice and divine justice. That humans corrupt, unfortunately. That even the courts and the systems that we create don't always work the way they're supposed to. And in contrast, divine justice is truly just, not dependent on the color of one's skin, not dependent on one's sexuality, not dependent on one's class or what they have in their wallet, but dependent only on the individual. And that we will, in God's eyes, always be loved, always be treated appropriately, always be filled with respect, back and forth. So at the bottom of page 16, we'll sing together. Sing to Adonai a new song, for God has worked wonders. God's might has been triumphant, revealing supreme power to all.
God has remembered his steadfast love and faithfulness to the house of Israel.
The whole world has seen the triumph of our God. Let all on earth shout for joy and break into jubilant song.
Sing praise to Adonai with the harp, with trumpets and horns make a joyful noise.
Let the sea roar and all its creatures, the world and its inhabitants.
Let the rivers applaud in exultation. Let the mountains all echo earth's joyous song.
Adonai is coming to rule the earth, to sustain the world with kindness, to judge its people with fairness. Once again, God's justice is truly just. God's justice is fair for each and every one of us. Doesn't matter our faith, doesn't matter our sex, doesn't matter how we identify, doesn't matter where we came from or where we're going. God is the one who is truly just and fair. We'll turn now to the bottom of page 19 and sing together, praising God, bowing towards God's holy mountain. invite you to rise and join with us as we sing Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid,
So, if you were all sitting in front of me, which I'm picturing you right now, I'd ask you how many people grew up imagining God as a guy, probably white, with a long white beard, sitting in a big chair somewhere. And I'd imagine many hands going up. But God doesn't have color. God doesn't have a gender. God doesn't have sex. And yet, within our tradition, especially in the mystical tradition, there is the idea that God has aspects of God's personality that are male and that are female. And part of the mission of Shabbat is to unite all of God into God's self, to create peace within God and to create peace on this earth. And as part of that mystical imagination that was so popular, especially in the 16th century in Tzfat, there were beautiful poems written, including Lecha Dodi. And Lecha Dodi is speaking of Shabbat as a bride. But in a way, it's also calling out to Shabbat as the bride of Israel, but also as to God, God's self, speaking of the Shekhinah, the feminine presence of God, and saying, let us be with you. Let us come together on this day and celebrate joyfully, fully together. So the first two verses on page 22 and the last two on page 22. Sorry, the first two on 21 and the last two on 22.
Right.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעלמה בברach חירותי וימלך מלכותי, בחייקון ובמכון חיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולם עולמים. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשם
Berichu.
לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמרן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Amen.
יהי שלום הרבה משמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ימרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen.
Amen.
So tonight is a celebration. It may not be the celebration we hoped for. There's a little bit less glitz, a little less glamour, a little less color. There's no glitter anywhere. But it is a celebration. My prayer and my hope, and I think my reality, is that CBI, Bnai Israel, is a congregation whose members are Jews of color, interfaith families, men and women, LGBTQ individuals, young people, and young at heart. And our annual Pride Shabbat has grown over the years, gathering Jews and their friends in our sanctuary to celebrate. In this world at this moment, there are still countries, some might even say counties, where people must remain closeted. LGBTQ people need to be closeted not just because they won't get a pat on the back and celebrate with pride, but because it is physically dangerous for them to be out. That's still pretty scary. In many countries in Africa and the Middle East and Iran, Saudi Arabia, you can still receive the death penalty simply for being who you are. That's just wrong. So I feel that it is truly a blessing to be in a country where marriage equality finally succeeded. And where just last week the Supreme Court banned discrimination against employees of organizations who are LGBTQ. And yet, there's work to be done. The decision to affirm that it's wrong to discriminate was a 6-3 decision. Now that 6-3 is better than 5-4. But shouldn't a decision about the fundamental rights of people be a 9-0 decision? Why should that be partisan or split? That should be unanimous. This week we read Parshat Korach in the book of Numbers. Korach is a relative of Moshe and Aaron. He's a member of the Levites, and he starts a rebellion. He's jealous of his relative's power and wishes to consolidate under his own leadership. And the third verse of this week's Parsha is telling. Vayachulu al Moshe ve'al Aharon vayimru alechem rav lechem ki kol ha'edah kulam kedoshim v'ftachem Adonai madua nasu'u al kahal Adonai. They go, they combine against Moshe and Aaron, and they say to them, "You went too far, guys. All the community are holy, all of them, and God is with them. Why do you raise yourself above the congregation of God?" It seems like a great accusation. Moshe and Aaron have more power. Why shouldn't other people complain? But when we look elsewhere in the Torah, we see the fallacy, the great error, the grave error that Korach made. Because over and over and over in the Torah, we hear God tell Moshe, Daber al kol adat b'nei Israel, speak to the children of Israel, v'amarta alehem, and say to them, Kedoshim tiyu, you will be holy, you shall be holy. Why? Ki kadosh ani Adonai lechem, because I, your God, am holy. God is now, presently, currently holy. But we, the people, have to work to become holy. We have things we have to do to become holy. The tense is everything. See, English teachers out there, grammar makes a difference. It's a tiny change that makes all the difference. Through making positive choices, through following the commandments, we become holy. There's still work to be done. Korach is saying, we're done. We're finished. We don't have anything else to do. We're a welcoming congregation. We're friendly. We don't have to do anything else to be nice to people. No, every single day we have to prove that we're welcoming. Every single day we have to prove that we are here for one another. And then we can be a Kahila Kadosha holy community. You know how many places say, okay, we got Pride Shabbat, all set. But the thing is, we need Pride the whole year long. We need to make sure that all of our people, all of you, know this is your home, not just this Shabbat, but every Shabbat. So I want to share a couple experiences of my own growth and of our community and broader. So a couple years ago, I wasn't here yet. I was almost here. I signed a contract, but I was still in New York. And I wanted to say, okay, how do I show CBI that I care even if I'm stuck where I was before? So I'd say I went to the store, but I went online, and I got a little wristband, a watch band to put on my watch. So I got a rainbow strap, I shared it on Facebook, I said, CBI, I'm here with you. People said, that's very nice. Pride came, Pride went. I had a decision. It's July, it's August. When do I take off the band? But there never really seemed to be a right time. It just became part of who I was. And wherever I went, wherever I go, I hear from people that are surprised or excited that the rabbi, that a member of the clergy was wearing a symbol of pride. This is my third watch band. One frayed and wore away. I got another one. Then I broke the watch. Got a new watch, but before the watch was even here, I had to get a new band. Because this band, this little sign, is a sign. Maybe it's a token, but it's a point of connection that says, I'm trying. Does it mean I always get it right? Absolutely not. I stick my foot in my mouth just as much as anybody else. Just ask my family or anybody in this room. But I want to engage people positively. I want people not just to feel welcome, but truly to be the community. That this is your home, your sacred space. I want to affirm to everyone that we are all created in the image of God and that God truly loves each and every one of us. It's progress. It may not be holiness yet, but it is working towards holiness. So this year we put a flag outside our house. We wanted to show that when we can invite people over, everyone is welcome. Now we're the home with the rainbow flag. I've seen studies that pride is not just good for the soul, but it can be good for life, literally save lives. That young people, LGBTQ young people, in homes where their parents or their loved ones are not affirming, commit suicide at far too high rates. And it's amazing that something as small as a watch band or a flag can make a difference in a young person's life. Because if they see someone in a position of authority, in a position as a faith leader, that I am here, that we are here, it could say, you have a safe place, and that can make a difference. I pray that those flags are not needed to save a child, but if they are, we need to keep them up. And so, that's not going away anytime soon, and we'll keep it up until everyone on our street has one. Today, there was one more flag. So where Cantor and I studied is the Jewish Theological Seminary in New York. And when I began studying there, JTS didn't yet admit openly gay and lesbian students. They were talking about it. They've been talking about it for a decade. And it was a conversation of which I had a pretty strong opinion going in. I went to JTF knowing and advocating for a change in policy, which did occur that year. A generation earlier, our colleagues couldn't have imagined that you could go through the seminary, openly gay, LGBTQ. And now, the students that are there now, I don't think they could imagine that there was ever a time when you couldn't be open at the seminary. Look, it's only 35 years since women were ordained at the seminary. Times have changed, and rabbinical students today are an incredibly diverse mix of races, genders, sexual identities, sexualities. That's progress. That is building Kedusha, holiness in this world. Recently, in one of the classes we had here, we talked about Judaism as a faith of belonging, a tribal identity, a connection from who we are, and a Judaism of belonging. That's belonging, and a Judaism of becoming, of working towards goals. That to identify as a Jew requires work. You have to do something. That's becoming. So whether we think of ourselves together because of our shared history and our shared experiences, we still have work to do. We have actions we have to take, choices we need to make. And on a regular basis, we have to affirm our faith. So standing here today, we're doing that. We are being strict. We're being machmer. On loving our neighbors as ourselves. Because each and every one of us, each and every one of you, are our neighbors. Whether you're part of this congregation or not yet a part of this congregation. Wink. We are all in this great and big and sometimes terrible and sometimes beautiful and sometimes amazing and sometimes radical and sometimes stuck in the mud world together. Let us bring light into that world. Let us work together to create holiness in this world. Let us be worthy of becoming a holy people, just as our God is a holy God. In this way, we will fulfill the words of God to Moshe to strive to be a holy nation rather than making the assumption of Korah that we've already succeeded. Shabbat Shalom. So now we'll turn to the Mari service, the evening service, page 28. We rise for the Baruch, and along the way we've got a couple special melodies, so you'll notice a couple little changes.
Baruch et Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Mevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Leolam Vaed.
May be seated.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdir ben yom uben laila, Adonai tzemot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid l'chaleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amarim Aravim.
Page 20 of Atolam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael. Ahavta, ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot v'kim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta נשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ורהם נגד יומם ולילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
On page 30, we declare the oneness of God and our faith in the one who loves us and who we love. Page 30.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ונקבעת בם בשבתך ובביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Adonai Elohechem emet.
Page 32.
ומלכותו ורצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל, וקנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך בתלמוד קודש נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, מלכותך רבו פניך בוקע ים לפני משה, זה אלינו ואמרו אדוני לא לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני God Israel.
So I want us now to do our second reading, Geula, redemption. God did not lead us by the nearer way when Pharaoh let the people go at last, but roundabout, by way of the wilderness, pillars of fire and cloud marking night and day, to the edge of the flood tide uncrossable and vast. If God had led us by the nearer way, we cried, We would not die here, let Egypt oppress us at will. Let us return to the past. But we have come out by way of the wilderness, in fear, on faith, free now because we say we are free, no longer the unchosen, the outcast. God did not lead us by the nearer way, but into rising waters which do not part unless with an outstretched arm we step forward and stand fast, round about by way of the wilderness. We have come here blessed with love, lesbian, gay, or sanctified in ways of our own, to bless our God, who did not lead us by the nearer way, but round about by way of the wilderness. Praise to you, Adonai, who spreads shelter of peace over us, over all his people, over all her people, over Jerusalem. Amen. We'll rise and turn to page 34 for Vishamru. We'll remain standing for the Chatzi Kaddish, and then we'll take time for our personal prayer, the Amidah, giving thanks for the gift of Shabbat, and possibly in a few minutes a rainbow.
Vishamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לתורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לתורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתקדש ויתקדש מרמה, בעלמא נברא גנותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייך ובימיך וחייך בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמרה מברך, לעולם והמייח. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. שמרי קודשה בריחו לילה מכל וגדה ושירתה. תוש לבתה לך למטה, דמירה מעלמה, ויאמרו אמן.
Yeah, I keep Tehillah. That's all. From my lips and my mouth. Very great. personal prayer, we remain standing. If you are able, turn to page 47 for Vayakulu, the beginning of Genesis and creation. And just as a side note, tomorrow I will be speaking about gender and sexuality and the idea of Adam and Chava. Who was the first person, and how does that relate to our present? So, stay tuned tomorrow, page 47.
Vayekulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'kol tzivham vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כמו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני Eloheinu Melech Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Melech Yitzchak, Melech Yaakov, Elohei Sarai, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VeHadara, Elyon, Konei Shamayim Magen Avot bidvaro, Mechayim Metim b'mamaro, Ha'el HaKadosh she'en kamohu, Hameniach le'amo, ve'yom Shabbat kodsho, Kivam ratzah Kivam ratzah lehadiach lahem levanach lavot me'irav ha'chatan v'lodeh lishmo bechol yom tamid me'or habrachot el ha'odahot מקדש השבת ומברך שלי ומניח מקדושה לעמנו שני עונג זכר למעשה בראשית.
At the top of 48, our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest. Instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so we might serve you faithfully, lovingly, and willingly. Adonai, our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat. So the people of Israel who hallow your name will always find rest on this day. Praise to you, Adonai, who hallow Shabbat. Kaddish Shalem.
יתקרא ויקדש מרבה בעלמא תמרה כרותי וימליך וכתמגע יכול ומכל העיר בישראל בגלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן יש לרבם לברך לעלם ועלמיה יתברך וישתבח פרצו ונעשה ויתנר ויתנר שמר קודשה בריחו לאלה מכל מגעתה ושירתה כלולתה ונגמתה דמירה בעלמה ואמרו אמן תתקבל צורת הונדנו ישראל קדם
you have a little bit of homework, which is that when the service is over, to turn back to page 49 and to make kiddush, to have a glass of wine, to have something stronger if you prefer, and to praise God's name and thank God for the gift of the Sabbath. We'll turn to page 51 for Aleinu. We rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateh gdula li'oseh b'reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, ve'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
Be seated. We remember today Alan Koenig, Mona Judenfeld, Toby Rothbard Bressler, Bernarda Abraham Roche, Natalie Goldberg, Elliot Gray, Alan Marmon, Fred Bunce, and those in this week to come for tonight and the week. Bernice Friedman, Nadra Ora Sharif, Helen Levine, Sadie Seltzer, Jacob Michael Getz, Rhoda Carpe, Nettie Baum, Isidore Gewurzman, Ida Lovick, Benjamin Hershkowitz, Minna Goldman, Molly Isaacs, Zaki Mizrahi, Dorothy Bookbinder, Leo Barenhout, Betty Cohn, Isidore Schuster, Stephen Bleckler, Earthwind Pearl, Jerry Bloom, Ethel Jacobson, Jeanette Hirsch, Tilly Horowitz, Helen Lustigman, Molly Eklist, Lawrence Schaefer, Mary Serkezi, Joseph Kaplan, Bernard Nevetsky, Israel Nemiroff, Janice Brash, Cecile Kramer, Molly Jacobs, Richard Rosenthal, Ida Greenfeld, Alan Koppelman, Anita Tallerfeld, Anna Lavenberg, Irving Barbarash, Isaac Katz, Anna Bookbinder, Philip Spears, Minnie Winokur, Clara Nicholson, James Schwartz, Harold Packman, Edna Corton, and Tilly Fleischman. And I also think today of those who, out of isolation, out of hatred, out of malice, out of loss, were killed simply because of who they were, for their identity, for being LGBTQ. In their memory, and in those we are remembering this week, page 52, the Mourner's Kaddish, Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalman yibrach cherutei v'yamlech malchutei. V'chayachon v'yimachon chayet kol Beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman karev v'yimru Amen.
Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevarach l'olam v'l'amei amaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalel Shmei Kudsha B'richu.
Berichu.
La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata d'maran v'yalma v'yimru Amen.
Amen.
Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemayim. V'chayim aleinu v'yalko Yisrael v'yimru Amen.
Amen.
V'oseh shalom v'yimroma. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yalko Yisrael v'yimru Amen.
Amen.
And we'll do our third reading of the night for LGBTQIQ people.